when's the next book reading? I get it. I left you hanging. You're wondering what's come next. I'm wondering what comes next. So we're back for another book reading of our weekly Friday. Not so weekly anymore. It starts with us. I believe the last chapter we did was chapter 15, so I think we are on chapter 16. I don't know if it's short or long. If it's short, we'll do 2. If it's long, we'll just stick to this one. But yeah, what happened last time? I think Atlas and Lily went on their date, and then what else happened? Oh, Atlas found his brother, his like little brother that was like vandalizing his stores or whatever, and that was like really heartwarming and cute. And now we're here, so let's just get into it. There's no construction today. They've been constructing every single day for like the past like almost month now, and there's no construction today. I'm really excited, so let's get into it before I jinx myself and they come. Okay, chapter 16 is in Lily's point of view. You lose your mornings after having children. I used to open my eyes and lie in bed for several minutes before grabbing my phone and catching up on everything I might have missed while I slept. I'd have a cup of coffee and then mentally map out my day while I showered. But now that I have Emmy, her early morning cries rip me out of bed, and I become her gopher before I even have time to pee. I rush to change her, rush to clothe her, rush to feed her. By the time I'm finished with morning mother duties, I'm late for work and barely have time to do things for myself. It's why I cherish Sunday mornings. It feels like the only day of the week I get a sense of calm. When Emmy wakes up on Sundays, I always bring her back to bed with me. We lie together and I listen to her babble, and there's absolutely no rush to get up or be somewhere. Sometimes, like right now, she falls back to sleep and I just stare at her for long stretches of time, marveling at the wonder that is motherhood. I grab my phone and take a picture of her to text to Ryle, but I hesitate before hitting send. I don't miss Ryle at all, but it does make me sad in moments like this that Ryle doesn't get to do this with us, or that I don't get to share in the joys they have together. There's nothing better than adoring the child you made with the person you made them with, which is why I always try to text in pictures and videos, but I'm still upset about last night and don't really feel like reaching out yet. I saved the picture for a more peaceful day. Fucking Ryle. Divorce is difficult. I knew it would be, but it's so much harder than I anticipated. And navigating divorce with a child in the mix is a million times trickier. You're stuck interacting with that person for the remainder of your life. You have to either figure out a way to plan birthday parties together or figure out a way to be okay with having separate celebrations. You have to plan on which holidays each of you get to spend with the child, which days of the week, down to which hours of the day sometimes. You can't snap your fingers and be done with that person you married and divorced. You're stuck with them forever. I'm stuck dealing with Ryle's feelings forever. And frankly, I'm growing tired of always feeling sorry for him, worried for him, fearful of him, considerate of his feelings. How long am I supposed to wait before I start dating someone else without Ryle being justified in his jealousy? How long do I have to wait before I tell him I'm dating Atlas, if Atlas and I become a thing? How long until I get to start making decisions about my life without worrying about his feelings? My phone vibrates. It's my mother calling. I slide softly out of bed to walk to the living room before answering it. Hey, can I have Emerson today? I laugh at her blatant disregard for her daughter now that she has a granddaughter. I'm good. How are you? My mother loves Emmy as much as I do. I'm convinced of that. When Emmy turned 6 weeks old, my mother started taking her for a few hours at a time while I worked. She actually stayed at her house overnight last month. It was Emmy's first night away from me since she'd been born. She had fallen asleep at my mother's and neither of us wanted to wake her, so I went back for her the next morning. Rob and I are close by. We could come pick her up in 20 minutes. We're going to the botanical gardens. I thought it would be fun to get her out. I'm sure you could use the break. Yeah, sure, I'll get her dressed. Half an hour later, there's a knock at my door. I open it and let my mother and Rob inside. My mother beelines across the living room straight to Emmy, who is on a pallet on the floor. Hi, Mom, I say teasingly. Look at this adorable outfit, my mother says, picking her up. Did I buy her this? No, it's a hand-me-down from Riley, actually. It's nice that Riley is 6 months older. We haven't had to buy Emmy many clothes because Alyssa gives me more than enough of Riley's, and they're always in great condition because I don't think Riley ever wears an outfit twice. Emmy is wearing the outfit Riley wore at her first birthday party. I was hoping it would eventually be passed down to Emmy because it's adorable. It's a pair of pink leggings with green whole watermelons on them and a green long-sleeved top with a pink slice of watermelon in the center of it. My mother has bought almost everything else Emmy wears, including the blue jacket I'm putting on her right now. That doesn't match her outfit, my mother says. Where's the pink jacket I bought her? It's too little, and it's a jacket, and she's 1 year old. It doesn't matter if she doesn't match. My mother huffs, and I can tell by the look on her face that Emmy is going to come home in a brand new jacket this afternoon. I kiss Emmy on the cheek, and my mother heads for the door. I hand Rob the diaper bag, and he hoists it over his shoulder. Want me to carry her? He asks my mother. She squeezes Emmy tighter. I've got her. She addresses me over the shoulder. We'll be back in a few hours. About what time? I ask her. I don't usually clarify a time with her, but I'm thinking about asking Atlas what he's doing right now. We could maybe grab lunch since we're both off today and I'm kid-free. I'll text you why. Are you going somewhere? She asked. I figured you'd just catch up on sleep. I don't dare tell her I might sneak away to meet a guy. She'd ask me questions well past the botanical garden's closing hours. Yeah, I'll probably just sleep. I'll keep my phone on though. Have fun. My mother is out the door and down the hallway, but Rob pauses and looks at me. Make sure you park your car in the same spot. She'll notice if you move it, and she'll ask questions. He winks, a clear indication that he can read me better than she can. Thanks for the heads up, I whisper. I close the door and go find my phone. I've been rushing to get Emmy dressed and out the door, so I haven't looked at my phone since I hung up with my mother. I have a missed call from Atlas about 20 minutes ago. My stomach flips with anticipation. I hope he's off today. I use my phone camera to check my appearance, and then I call him back over video chat. I hated when he called me over video chat the first time, but now it feels like the natural thing to do. I always want to see his face. I like seeing what he's wearing and where he's at, and the faces he makes when he says the things he says. I'm already smiling when I hear the sound that indicates he answered the call. He lifts the phone, and when I finally make out what I am looking at, I see he's standing in an unfamiliar kitchen. It's white and bright and different from the kitchen I remember when I visited his house almost 2 years ago. Morning, he says, smiling, but he looks tired, like he just either woke up or is about to fall asleep. Hey, sleep well? He asked. I did, finally. I squint my eyes trying to see past him. Did you remodel your kitchen? Atlas glances over his shoulder and then looks back at me. I moved. What? When? Earlier this year. Sold my house and got a place closer to the restaurant. Oh, that's nice. Closer to the restaurant means closer to me. I wonder how far apart we live now. Are you cooking? Atlas aims his phones at his countertop. There's a pan of eggs, a pile of bacon, pancakes, and 2 plates. 2 glasses of juice. My heart drops. That's a lot of food, I say, attempting to hide the immense jealousy running through me. I'm not alone, he says, panning the screen back to his face. My disappointment must be clearly written all over me because he immediately shakes his head. No, Lily, that's not. He laughs and then seems flustered. His reaction is adorable but not entirely reassuring yet. He holds the phone up a little higher until I see a person standing behind him. I'm not sure who's with him, but it isn't a woman. It's a kid. A kid who looks just like Atlas. He's staring right at me with eyes that look identical to Alice's eyes. Does he have a child I don't know about? What is going on? She thinks I'm your son, the kid says. You're freaking her out. Atlas immediately aims the phone back at his own face. He's not my son. He's my brother. Brother. Atlas moves the phone so that I'm looking at his brother again. Say hi to Lily. No. Atlas rolls his eyes and shoots me an apologetic look. He's kind of a jerk. He says that right in front of his little brother. Atlas, I whisper, shocked at every part of this conversation. It's okay. He knows he's a jerk. I see the kid laugh behind him, so I know he knows Atlas is kidding. text. I had no idea you had a brother. I didn't know either. Found out last night after our date. I think back on last night and how it was obvious something was bothering him about the text he received, but I had no idea it was a family issue. I guess this explains why his mother was trying to contact him. Sounds like you have a lot to work through today. Wait, don't hang up yet, he says. He walks out of the kitchen and into another room for privacy. He closes the door and sits down on his bed. Biscuits still have about 10 minutes. I can chat. Wow, pancakes and biscuits. He's a lucky kid. I had black coffee for breakfast. Atlas smiles, but his smile doesn't reach his eyes. He seemed like he was in a good mood in front of his brother, but now that I have him alone, I can see the stress in the way he's holding himself. Where's Emmy? He asks. My mother has her for a few hours. When it registers that we're both off work and I don't have Emmy, he sighs like he's bummed. You mean you actually have a free day? It's okay, we're taking it slow, remember? Besides, it's not every day you find out you have a little brother. He dives a hand through his hair and sighs. He's the one who's been vandalizing the restaurant. I startle at that comment. I need to hear more of this story. That's why my mother tried calling me last week to see if I'd heard from him. I feel like a dick for blocking her number now. You didn't know? I'm standing in my living room, but I want to sit down for this conversation. I walk to the couch and set my phone on the arm of it, propping it up with the pop socket. Did he know about you? Atlas nods. Yeah, and he thought I knew about him, which is why he was taking out his anger on my restaurants. Other than the thousands of dollars he cost me, he seems like a good kid. Or he at least seems like he has the potential to be a good kid. I don't know. He's gone through a lot of shit, and I went through with my mother, so there's no telling that's done to him. Is your mother there too? Atlas shakes his head. I haven't told her I found him yet. I spoke to a friend of mine who's a lawyer, and he said the sooner I tell her the better, so she can't use it against me. Use it against him? Are you wanting to get custody of him? Atlas nods without hesitation. I don't know if that's what Josh wants, but there isn't another option I could live with. I know what kind of mother she is. He mentioned wanting to find his father, but Tim is even worse than my mother. What kind of rights do you have as his brother? Any? Alice shakes his head. Not unless my mother agrees to let him live with me. Not looking forward to that conversation. She'll say no just to spite me, but Atlas releases a heavy sigh. If he stays with her, he won't have a chance in hell. He's already harder than I was at that age, angrier. I'm afraid of what that anger might turn into if he doesn't gain some stability in his life. But who's to say I'm capable of something like this? What if I fuck him up more than my mother has? You won't, Atlas. You know you won't. He accepts my reassurance with a quick flash of a smile. That's easy for you to say. You're a natural at this whole raising kids thing. I just fake it as well. I say, I have no idea what I'm doing. No parent does. We're all full of imposter syndrome, winging it every minute of the day. Why is that both comforting and terrifying, he asks. You just summed up parenthood with those words. He exhales. I should probably get back in there and make sure he isn't robbing me. I'll call you later, okay? Okay, good luck. The way Atlas silently mouths the words goodbye in return is sexy as hell. Stop right there. Don't get me started. When I end the call, I fall onto my bed and sigh. I love the way I feel after I talk to him. He makes me feel giddy and energized and happy, even when the call is as shocking and chaotic as that one was. I wish I knew where he lived. I'd go give him a drive-by hug like the one he gave me last night. I hate that he's dealing with this, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy for him. I can't imagine how alone he felt since I met him, not having a single family member in his life. And that poor kid, it's like Atlas all over again, as if one kid feeling that unloved by their mother wasn't enough. My phone chimes, indicating I have a text. I smile when I see it's from him. I smile even bigger when I see how long the text is. Thank you for being the most comforting part of my life right now. Thank you for always being the beacon I need every time I feel lost. Whether you mean to shine on me or not, I'm grateful for you. I've missed you. absolutely should have kissed you. Stop right there, sir. Stop. I'm covering my mouth with my hand when I finish reading it. I'm filled with so much emotion, I don't know where to put it. Josh is lucky to have you in his life now. Within seconds, Atlas hearts my text. Then I sent another one. And you're right, you absolutely should have kissed me. Atlas hearts that text too. And that's chapter 16. I forgot how giddy this book makes me feel. Normally I would stop there, but I'm gonna go ahead and read chapter 17 too because I feel kind of bad. I just feel kind of bad. So let's go into chapter 17. Chapter 17 is in Atlas's point of view. Josh doesn't trust me, but I'll wear him down. I'm willing to bet he doesn't trust anyone, so I'm not taking it personally. If his childhood is anything like mine was, I'm sure he's been toughened at the age of 12 in a way that no kid should be familiar with. As much as he glares at me with distrustful eyes, I can also sense that he's curious about me. He doesn't ask many questions, but he watches me in a way that makes it obvious he has a million of questions on the tip of his tongue. For whatever reason, he keeps swallowing them down. He's probably wondering why I went so easy on him last night after finding out he's the one who damaged my restaurant. He's also probably wondering why I didn't know about him and how I turned out so vastly different from my mother and Tim. Whatever he's wondering, he's attempting to keep a tight lid on his expressions. I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable, so I've been doing most of the talking while he eats breakfast. It's not that hard. I have just as many questions for him as he does for me. It's one of the reasons I couldn't sleep last night when he finally made it to my house. I kept listening for the sound of him trying to sneak out of the house. I was honestly shocked that he was still there this morning. Me too, actually. As much of my questions are probably annoying him, I can't remember what it was like to be 12. All I wanted was for someone to be interested in who I was, even if they were faking interest. If his life is anything like mine was, he's gone 12 years being ignored, and I refuse to allow him to feel that way under my roof. But I've only been asking him safe questions. I'll ease into the more difficult stuff. Josh eats one thing at a time. A biscuit first, then bacon. He's cutting into the pancakes for the first time when I say, "What are you interested in? Any hobbies?" He takes a bite. One of his eyebrows raises a bit, but I don't know if it's because of the food or my question. Why? Why am I asking you what you're interested in? His neck is stiff when he nods. I've missed 12 years of your life. I want to know who you are. Josh brings eye contact and forks more pancakes into his mouth. Manga, he whispers. That surprises me, but thanks to Theo, I actually know what manga is. What's your favorite series? One Piece. I knew, for some reason, I just knew that that's what it was gonna be. He shakes his head, erasing that answer. No, Chainsaw Man is probably my favorite. That's about as far into the conversation as I can go without sounding ignorant. We can go to the bookstore later today if you want. He nods. These are good pancakes. Thanks. I watch him take a drink of his juice, and when he sets the glass down, he says, "What are you interested in?" He nods toward the plate. Other than cooking. This is so cute. I don't know how to answer that. Most of my time is given to my restaurant. Whatever time I have left over is spent on house repairs, laundry, sleep. I like the cooking channel. Josh chuckles. That's sad. Why? I said besides cooking. It's a harder question than I thought. Not that it's being thrown back at me. I like museums, I say, and going to the movies and traveling. I just don't do any of those things because you're always working. Yeah. Like I said, sad. He leans over his plate to catch another bite of pancake. The get to know you questions are backfiring, so I cut right to the chase. What was your fight about? He shrugs. Half the time, I don't even know what the hell I did wrong. She just gets bad for no reason. Josh doesn't look at me. He scoots the food around on his plate for a moment and then says, "Your restaurant." His eyes slowly journey back over to mine. You have a really comfortable couch in your office. You've been sleeping inside the restaurant. For how long? 2 weeks. I'm in shock. How have you been getting in? You don't have any alarm at that one restaurant. And I finally figured out how to pick the lock after a few tries. Your other restaurant was too hard to get into though. You know how to pick. I can't help but laugh. Brad and Darren are going to love saying I told you so. Why do you go from sleeping there to vandalizing it? Josh looks at me reluctantly. I don't know. I guess I was mad. He pushes his plate away and leans back in his chair. What now? Do I have to go back to her? What do you want to happen? I want to live with my dad. He scratches at his elbow. Can you help me find him? I want to find him about as much as I wanted to find my mother, which is not at all. Do you know anything about him? I think he lives in Vermont now. I just don't know where. When's the last time you saw him? A few years ago, but he doesn't know where to find me anymore. Josh looks every bit his age right now. A fragile kid abandoned by his father, but refusing to lose hope. I don't want to be the one to rip that from him, so I just nod. Yeah, I'll see what I can do, but for now, I need to let your mother know you're okay. I have to call her. Why? If I don't, this could be considered kidnapping. Not if I'm here willingly, he says. Even if you're here willingly, you aren't old enough to decide where you want to live. And right now, your mother has legal custody of you. He grows visibly irritated. He stabs at his breakfast with a scowl and doesn't take another bite. I step away to call Sutton. I unblocked her number after she left my restaurant last night in case she needed to get in touch with me. I dial her number and put the phone to my ear. After a few rings, she finally answers with a very groggy hello. Hey, I found him. Who is this? I briefly close my eyes when I wait for her to awake and remember her son is missing. After a few quiet seconds, she goes, Atlas. Yeah, I found Josh. I can hear rustling from her end like she's hopping out of bed. Where has he been? I really don't want to answer that. I know she's his mother, but I feel like it's none of her business where he's been, which is an unusual opinion to have. I'm not sure where he's been, but he's with me now. Listen, I was wondering if he could stay here for a while. Maybe give you a break. You want him to stay with you? The way she puts the emphasis on that last word makes me wince. This is going to be harder than I thought. She's the type of person who fights for the sake of fighting, no matter what outcome she really wants. I could enroll him in school and make sure he attends. I offer up. Take the truancy heat off of you. It's quiet on her end. Like maybe she's contemplating that. Such a martyr, she mutters. Bring him back, now. She ends the call. I attempt to call her back 3 times, but she sends the calls to voicemail. That didn't sound promising, Josh says. He's standing in the doorway of the kitchen. I'm not sure how much he heard of on my end, but at least he couldn't hear her end. I slide my phone in my pocket. She wants you back today, but I'll call a lawyer tomorrow. Hell, I'll call Child Protective Services if you want me to. There's just not much I can do on a Sunday. Josh's shoulders drop when I say that. Will you at least give me your phone number? He acts that like he's scared I'm going to say no. Of course, I'm not going to abandon you now that I know you exist. He picks at a hole in his sleeve, avoiding eye contact with me when he says, I wouldn't blame you for being mad at me. I cost you a lot of money. I'm gonna cry. You did do that, I say. Those croutons were expensive. Josh laughed for the first time this morning. Dude, those croutons were fucking delicious. I groan. Don't use that word. The Risemore Inn is clear on the other side of Boston. It takes us 45 minutes with traffic to get there, and it's not even a weekday. When we pull into the parking lot, Josh doesn't immediately get out of the car. He just sits quietly in the passenger seat, staring at the building like it's the last place he wants to be. I wish I didn't have to return him to his mother, but I put in another call to my lawyer friend this morning after talking to Sutton. He said if I want to go about this the right way without her having ammunition against me, the only thing I can do is return him. And then want to take her to court. He said I need to get a lawyer and go through the process. Anything done outside the process could be a mark against me. Apparently, you can't just kidnap your sibling, even if you know they're in danger. I wanted to explain all of this to Josh in more detail to let him know I'm not just abandoning him with his mother, but he's so hell-bent that he's going to live with his dad. I'm not sure he even wants to live with me. I'm not sure I'm prepared to raise a little brother, but as long as I'm alive, there's no way I can willingly leave him in his mother's permanent custody without at least trying. Until I can figure out what to do next, I don't want him to find himself in a situation where he has no food to eat or no money to extend his hotel stay. I pull out my wallet and hand him a credit card. Can I trust you with this? Josh looks at the credit card in my hand and his eyes grow a little wide. I don't know why you would. I spent the last 2 weeks trying to destroy your business. I pushed the credit card toward him. Use it for basic necessities. Food, minutes for your phone. We stopped on the way here and got him a prepaid phone so he could stay in touch with me. Maybe some new clothes that fit. Josh reluctantly takes the card out of my hand. I don't know how to use one of these. You just swipe it, but don't tell Sutton you have it. I point at his phone. Hide it between your case and your phone. He pulls the keys off his phone and puts the credit card inside of it. Then he says, "Thank you." He puts his hand on the car door. Are you coming to talk to her? I shake my head. It's probably best if I don't. I'll probably just make her angrier. Josh shies and then gets out of the car. We stare at each other for a few seconds before he finally closes the door. I feel like such a dick bringing him back here, but I have to do this the right way. If I don't return him, she could file charges on me, and knowing her, she probably would. It's best if I just leave him for today, and then as soon as the week begins tomorrow, I can make phone calls and figure out what I can do to move him in with me. I know if he stays here with her, he isn't gonna have a chance in hell. I lucked out finding Lily. She saved my life, but I'm not sure there's enough luck in the world for both of us to be saved by a random stranger. I'm all he has. I remain in my car as Josh makes his way across the parking lot. He walks up the stairs and knocks on the second door from the end. He looks over his shoulder at me, so I wave right at the door swings open. I can see the rage in Sutton's eyes all the way from my position in the parking lot. She immediately begins yelling at him, and then she slaps him. My hand is on the door handle before Josh even has a chance to react to the slap. Sutton's hand is now gripping Josh's arm as she yanks him into the hotel. Oh my god. I'm several feet away from my car when I see him trip over the threshold and disappear into the room. I'm taking the stairs 2 at a time. My heart is racing. I reach the door before she even closes it. Josh is still trying to scramble to his feet and she's hovering over him, scolding him. I could have gone to jail, you little shit. She has no idea I'm behind her. I wrap my arm around her waist and pull her away from Josh by picking her up and dropping her onto the mattress behind me. It happens so fast, she's too shocked to react. I help Josh to his feet. His phone is a few feet away on the floor, so I grab it and hand it to him, then urge him toward the door. Sutton realizes what's happening and she jumps off the bed. The lighting changes are really doing me in right now, you guys. She followed us out the door. Bring him back. I feel her hands on me now. She's yanking at my shirt, trying to get me to stop or move aside so she can get to Josh. I urge him forward. Go to the car. He continues toward the stairs, and then I stop walking and spin around to face her. She sucks in a quick gasp after seeing the absolute fury in my eyes. Then she slaps her palms against my chest and shoves me. He's my son, she yells. I'll call the police. I release an exasperated laugh. I want to tell her to call the police. I want to scream at her. But most of all, I want to get Josh away from her. She's not going to ruin his life on my watch. I don't even have the energy to say anything at all to her. This woman isn't worth my words. I just walk away, leaving her screaming at me like old times. Josh is already sitting in the front seat of my car when I make it back. I slam my door and grip my steering wheel with both hands before starting the car. I need to calm myself before I get back on the road. Josh seems unusually calm for what just happened. It makes me wonder if that's an average interaction between them, because he isn't even breathing heavily. He's not crying. He's not cussing. He's just watching me. And then I realized how I react in that moment is quite possibly something he'll absorb for a lifetime. I slide my hands down the steering wheel and calmly exhale. Josh's cheeks is red, and there's a small gash on his forehead that's bleeding. Oh my god. I retrieve a napkin from the cup blocks and hand it to him, then flip the visor down so he can see where to wipe. I saw her slap you, but where'd the cut come from? I think I hit the TV stand. Slow and steady, Atlas. I put my car in reverse and back out of the parking lot. Maybe we should swing by the emergency room and have them check out your cut. Make sure you don't have a concussion. It's okay. I can usually tell when it's a concussion. He can usually tell. I clench my jaw as soon as he says that. I realize I have absolutely no idea what kind of hell this kid has already been through, and I was about to send him right back into the fire. Better to be safe, I say. But what I mean is, better to get this documented in case we need proof of her abuse at a later date. True. Oh. And that's chapter 17. Oh my god. There's something about parents that abuse their children that literally makes my blood boil. I'm literally getting mad. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I'm so sorry. I blanked for a second. I'm sorry that it took me quite a while to film another one of these, but there you have it. Chapters 16 and 17. 16 and 17. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see all of you lovely people in my next one. I love you. Bye.